AOC monitor flickering during gaming often occurs due to synchronization issues between your game's frame rate and the monitor's refresh rate. As of 2025, this can be largely resolved with software adjustments and proper hardware setup. First, determine if the issue stems from your FPS exceeding the monitor's refresh rate. Use tools like MSI Afterburner to monitor your frames per second. If your FPS consistently goes above your monitor's refresh rate, such as 144 Hz, this can cause flickering. If your FPS exceeds the refresh rate, implement a frame cap using tools like Rivatuner Statistics Server or the game's built-in limiter. Set the cap slightly below your refresh rate, for example, 142 FPS for a 144 Hz monitor to prevent over-rendering and reduce flicker. Next, verify your VSync or VRR settings. VRR, often labeled as Adaptive Sync in AOC's on-screen display menus, dynamically adjusts the refresh rate to match your FPS, minimizing flicker. Ensure VRR is enabled in both your monitor settings and your GPU control panel. Enable VRR in your GPU control panel. For NVIDIA users, use the NVIDIA control panel. For AMD users, use the AMD Adrenalin software. Keep your graphics drivers updated. Recent updates like NVIDIA's Game-Ready Driver 575 or AMD's Adrenalin 25.1 include enhanced VRR support and frame pacing algorithms that minimize flicker. For older AOC models, check for firmware updates via the OSD tools to fine-tune VRR settings. If flickering persists after these steps, suspect cable limitations as the cause. Flickering can be caused by outdated or faulty cables that can't handle high bandwidth, especially at 4K resolutions or high refresh rates. HDMI 2.0 cables may max out at 60 Hz for 4K, causing flicker in 144 Hz games. Switch to HDMI 2.1 or DisplayPort 1.4 Plus to ensure adequate bandwidth. Inspect your cables for bent pins or damage that could degrade the signal. Test with a known good cable to isolate this issue. If you are still experiencing problems after these fixes, a more advanced approach is to specifically troubleshoot VSync and VRR. VSync synchronizes frames but can introduce flicker if the FPS drops below the refresh rate and input lag, while VRR is lag-free. To adjust VRR, open NVIDIA Control Panel or AMD Radeon Settings and confirm that your AOC monitor is correctly identified and that VRR, G-Sync or FreeSync is enabled. Open NVIDIA Control Panel or AMD Radeon Settings. If flickering occurs at variable FPS, try temporarily disabling VRR to see if it resolves the issue. According to experts, most AOC flickering problems arise from VRR misconfigurations, and statistics show that most users fix flickering by using frame caps or cable upgrades. Be sure to reference AOC's support site for in-depth information and detailed logs to help fix your monitor.